October 14, 2025. Atlantic Crown Airways Flight 782 lifted off from New York City, heading toward Lisbon. A long overnight crossing over the North Atlantic. The aircraft was an Airbus A330-300, a powerful machine built for long-haul endurance. On board were 210 passengers. Families, business travelers, students, tourists, 11 cabin crew. And in command, Captain Elena Voss, 42 years old, 13,000 flight hours, one of Atlantic Crown's most trusted captains. Beside her sat First Officer Daniel Mercer. Young, sharp, confident. Weather across the Atlantic was rough but manageable. Scattered storm systems. Heavy winds near Portugal. Nothing unusual. Nothing dangerous. For the first 2 hours, everything was perfectly normal. And that's what made what happened next so terrifying. The cabin lights were dimmed. Passengers slept beneath blankets. The engines hummed with the deep, steady rhythm only long-haul pilots know. Elena sipped cold coffee and watched the dark ocean below. Then, a violent bang shook the aircraft. The entire cockpit lurched. Warning lights exploded across the panel. Daniel grabbed the controls. What was that? Elena's eyes scanned the ECAM. Hydraulic pressure dropping. Rapidly. Then, hydraulic system B failure. Her stomach dropped. Hydraulics powered the aircraft's brakes. Flight controls. Landing gear. Without them, landing could become impossible. Daniel checked engine instruments. No fire. No bird strike. But vibration data told another story. An uncontained engine fragment. Something had ruptured beneath the fuselage. Then the next warning appeared. Gear system fault. Elena froze. She knew exactly what that meant. The landing gear extension lines were dead. No hydraulics. No backup pressure. No guarantee the wheels would ever come down. And they were still 700 miles from the nearest runway. Elena keyed the radio. Shanwick Control, Atlantic Crown 782 declaring emergency, hydraulic failure, possible landing gear loss. Static answered. Then, a voice. Low. Calm. Almost impossible. Reaper 1, do you copy? Elena stopped breathing. Daniel looked over. What? She stared at the radio. That call sign. Reaper 1. Her brother Marcus's call sign. An Air Force pilot. Dead for 12 years. No, she whispered. The frequency went silent. The aircraft continued west to east, over black Atlantic emptiness. Elena pulled out the emergency checklist. Manual gear deployment. Step by step. Release valves. Gravity extension. Backup pressure. Nothing. No movement. The gear doors were jammed. Daniel checked external camera feeds. Empty. No landing gear visible. The aircraft was now a flying missile with no wheels. And every runway ahead had become a death trap. In the cabin, flight attendants moved quickly. Whispers turned to panic. Passengers saw the crew's faces. And they knew. Something was wrong. A mother clutched her child. An elderly man prayed. Phones came out. Messages were sent. Goodbyes. Above them, Elena had to choose. Divert north. Too far. Return west. Impossible. Closest option. Lage Air Base. Military. Long runway. Emergency capable. It was their only chance. Fuel was the next problem. They were too heavy. Landing without gear at full weight would rip the aircraft apart. Alina initiated fuel dump. Silver streams poured into the night sky. 20 minutes to reach safe landing weight. But then, smoke warning, cargo hold, fire. Daniel read the panel. Possible electrical short. Time just disappeared. They didn't have 20 minutes anymore. The fire could spread into structural beams. If it burned through hydraulic lines, they'd lose the rest of the controls. Then the radio came alive again. Clearer this time. Reaper 1, turn heading 083. Daniel heard it. He looked pale. You heard that? Alina nodded. The heading pointed directly to Lades. She didn't question it. She turned. Storm clouds swallowed the aircraft. Lightning flashed. Rain hammered the fuselage. Without hydraulics, the controls felt heavy. Every movement delayed. Every correction slower. And then, radar contact. Fast moving. Closing. Daniel stared. Aircraft at 3 o'clock. Alina turned. Out there in the darkness, an F-22 Raptor. Flying formation beside them. No transponder. No radio ID. Just there. Its afterburners glowed orange against black clouds. Passengers saw it. Screams filled the cabin. Phones pressed against windows. The jet stayed beside them, guiding them. And on its tail, 3 letters. RPR. Reaper. Alina felt ice in her veins. Lades Tower cleared them straight in. Winds at 40 knots. Heavy crosswind. Emergency foam spread across the runway. Fire trucks lined both sides. Cabin crew shouted brace commands. Passengers cried. Some screamed. Some sat frozen. Alina gripped the controls. No gear. No brakes. No second chance. She held the nose high. Perfect pitch. Too low and the belly would strike too hard. Too high and they'd stall. The fighter remained beside them. Then vanished into cloud. Gone. Like it had never existed. The runway appeared. Dark. Wet. Vast. Alina pulled. The belly touched. Metal screamed. Sparks exploded like fireworks. The engines tore apart against the ground. Passengers were thrown violently forward. The cabin shook like an earthquake. Fire erupted behind them. Fuel ignited. The aircraft slid for nearly 3,000 feet. Then stopped. Silence. 3 seconds. No one moved. Then screaming. Smoke. Flames. Chaos. Evacuation began instantly. Slides deployed. Fire crews rushed forward. Captain Alina Voss unbuckled and ran into the cabin. People trapped. Debris. Fire spreading. She pulled survivors out herself. Twice. 3 times. Ignoring orders. Ignoring flames. When rescue crews finally dragged her away, she was holding a child. Alive. The final count. 198 survivors. 24 dead, including 2 cabin crew. The investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board confirmed the engine explosion. A turbine blade had shattered. Fragments severed the hydraulic lines, destroyed the landing gear mechanism, sparked the cargo fire. The aircraft never had a chance at a normal landing. But then came the black box. Investigators replayed the cockpit audio and heard it clearly, undeniably. Elena trusts the heading. Voice recognition matched Marcus Voss. Dead since 2013. Radar logs also showed an escorting fighter. No military launch records existed. No pilot. No flight plan. Nothing. Officially, it remains unexplained. Ending. Captain Elena Voss retired 6 months later. She never flew again, but she visited every survivor she could. The child she carried from the fire. He became a pilot, inspired by the woman who refused to leave him behind. Atlantic Crown Flight 782 became a case study in catastrophic hydraulic failure. A lesson in training, discipline, and impossible choices. Because sometimes in aviation, skill gets you home, sometimes luck, and sometimes something else. And to this day, pilots crossing the Atlantic in bad weather still report hearing a faint transmission in static. A calm voice. 3 days after the crash at Lage Air Base, the burned shell of Atlantic Crown 782 sat silent on the runway. Its belly was ripped open. Both engines destroyed. The cabin blackened by smoke. But investigators quickly realized this wasn't a normal crash investigation. Because some of the evidence didn't make sense. The National Transportation Safety Board arrived alongside Portuguese military officials. Their first priority was simple: find out why the landing gear never deployed. At first, the answer seemed straightforward. The right engine turbine had suffered catastrophic fragmentation. Metal shards tore through hydraulic lines beneath the wing root. That explained the pressure loss. It explained the fire. It explained the gear failure. But then, they found something impossible. Deep inside the avionics bay. A burned metal fragment. Not from the aircraft. Not from the engine. Military-grade alloy. Stamped with one word. Reaper. Captain Elena Voss stared at it in silence. Her hands shook. Because Marcus had worn that exact insignia. His squadron patch. The same one buried with him 12 years earlier. Meanwhile, investigators downloaded the cockpit voice recorder. 4 hours of audio. Routine. Calm. Normal. Until the emergency. Hydraulic alarms. Checklist calls. Mayday declarations. Everything matched. Until timestamp 02-14-07. The mysterious transmission. Clear. Sharp. Not static. Not interference. A male voice. Reaper 1, turn heading 083. Investigators froze. Elena listened from the observation room. Her face went pale. It wasn't just similar. It was Marcus. Every vocal pattern matched. The exact same cadence. The same breathing rhythm. Even the slight rasp in his throat. The odds of that were nearly impossible. VoicePrint software returned a 98.7% match. Officially impossible. Unofficially terrifying. Then radar specialists examined military tracking logs and found another anomaly. For 11 minutes during Atlantic Crown 782's descent, something flew beside them. Vast, agile, stealth-like, radar signature small, movement consistent with an F-22 Raptor. But no military base in Europe reported launching one. No fuel logs. No pilot. No mission. Nothing. Portugal denied it. The U.S. denied it. United States Air Force denied it. And yet, 213 witnesses saw it. Passengers, Ground crews, tower controllers, all described the same thing. A gray fighter. No lights. Tail marked. RPR. Then came passenger testimony. A woman seated in 14A told investigators something strange. She said during the fire, just before impact, she saw a man standing in the aisle, wearing a military flight suit. Calm, unburned. He looked at her and said, "Brace now." Seconds later, impact. Seat 14A had no registered passenger. No one should have been there. Yet when crews searched the wreckage, that seat contained the burned Reaper patch. No body. No DNA. Nothing. Elena returned home weeks later. But sleep never came. Every night. The same dream. Marcus standing beside a fighter jet in darkness. Saying nothing. Just pointing east. Toward the ocean. Then one night, her radio at home turned on by itself. Static. Then, "You made it." She unplugged it. It kept transmitting. The official report was released 6 months later. Cause: engine failure, hydraulic loss, gear destruction, emergency belly landing, heroic crew response. Case closed. But the classified appendix remained sealed. 38 pages. Redacted. Military involvement. Unidentified aircraft. Unexplained transmissions. Missing data. Captain Elena Voss was ordered never to discuss it. She obeyed. Mostly. 1 year later. Another transatlantic flight. Different airline. Different crew. Same storm corridor. The captain reported a radio anomaly. A voice. Calm. Precise. Guiding them away from severe turbulence. Saving 184 lives. The transmission. Reaper 1 vector left. There was no aircraft nearby. No source. No explanation. Just static. And silence. Some believe Marcus Voss never left the skis. Some believe certain pilots stay on duty, even after death. Watching, waiting, protecting, and somewhere over the Atlantic tonight, if the weather turns dark enough, you might still hear him. Waiting in the static, 2 years passed after the crash of Atlantic Crown 782. Captain Elena Voss disappeared from public life. No interviews. No documentaries. No speaking events. She moved into a small coastal town in Portugal, far from airports, far from runways, far from the sky. But the sky never left her. Every night she heard it. That voice. Marcus. Sometimes in dreams. Sometimes in silence. And sometimes through radios that weren't even turned on. The official story was finished. Mechanical failure. Human skill. Survival. Case closed. But Elena knew better. Because she had seen the fighter. Daniel Mercer had seen it. 210 passengers had seen it. And yet, according to every radar authority, every military archive, every classified file, it never existed. Like it had been erased. Or never belonged here. Then, on November 3rd, 2027, Elena got a call. It was Daniel. His voice shaking. There's been another one. Atlantic Crown Flight 903. And Boeing 787 Dreamliner over the Atlantic. Hydraulic failure. Landing gear malfunction. Same route. Same storm corridor. Same altitude. And then, the same voice. Reaper 1, descend now. But this time, the crew didn't listen. The captain dismissed it as interference. 3 minutes later, the aircraft flew straight into a violent microburst. The plane broke apart. No survivors. Elena felt cold all over. That was no coincidence. That was proof. Whatever or whoever was out there, it was trying to help. Elena did something she swore she'd never do again. She returned to the investigation. Quietly, off the books, with Daniel. Together, they compared the black box recordings from both flights. Same frequency distortion. Same encrypted pattern. Same background noise. And hidden beneath the voice, a second sound. Fighter jet engines. Daniel enhanced the audio, frame by frame. Then they found it. A coded military signal buried underneath. Coordinates. Deep in the Atlantic. Elena recognized them instantly. The exact location where Marcus Voss's fighter had vanished during a classified training mission in 2013. Official cause: lost at sea. No wreckage recovered. No body found. Nothing. Until now. Against orders, Elena and Daniel chartered a private vessel. 3 days into the Atlantic, they reached the coordinates. Storm clouds gathered. The sea was black. Violent. Then sonar hit something. Metal. Large. Aircraft-shaped. A wreck. They sent down drones. And there it was. An F-22 Raptor resting on the ocean floor. Tail code: RPR-1. Reaper 1. Marcus. But something was wrong. The wreck looked untouched. No decay. No corrosion. As if it had crashed yesterday. Inside the cockpit, the canopy was open. Empty. No pilot. No remains. Just one thing. A helmet. Still powered. Its radio light blinking. Alive. After 14 years. Impossible. Back aboard the ship, the radio crackled. Static. Then, Marcus. Clear as day. Mission complete. Elena dropped the headset. Tears in her eyes. Daniel stared in disbelief. Then the ocean exploded. The wreck below vanished from sonar. Gone. Like it had been taken. The storm above them stopped instantly. Perfect silence. No wind. No waves. Nothing. Only the radio. One final transmission. Keep flying. And then, silence forever. Elena never told the world what she found. Neither did Daniel. The truth was too impossible. Too dangerous. Officially, Atlantic Crown 782 remains one of aviation's greatest survival stories. A miracle landing. A heroic captain. A mechanical disaster. But among pilots, there's another story. A story passed quietly in cockpit whispers. About a ghost fighter over the Atlantic. A guardian in the storm. A pilot who never landed. And never stopped watching. Today, every year on October 14th, Captain Elena visits the ocean. She looks east, toward the endless horizon, and leaves one thing behind: Marcus's old wings. Because some flights never end, some missions never die, and some call signs echo forever. If you ever fly over the Atlantic at night, and your radio goes silent, listen carefully, because somewhere in that darkness, you might hear him, waiting, watching, answering. Reaper 1 on your wing. End.